Welcome everyone to our Coaching Pathways to Success interview series, which is proudly brought to you by the ICF Australasia Southern States branch. We've put this series together to bring to life stories showing how our members are making a living out of coaching, because we know from your feedback, this is a major area of interest for members. I'm Simon Haan, and I'm part of the ICF Southern States branch leadership team. And I'm thrilled to welcome Lisa Barker, who I'll be interviewing today, about her experience in building a coaching practice. Lisa is the founder of Heliotropia, a consultancy focused on coaching and wellbeing. Her work is based on the science of wellbeing, and she's a highly experienced educator. She's an associate certified coach and holds a graduate certificate in organizational coaching from Swindon University, as well as 2 postgraduate qualifications in positive psychology from the University of Melbourne. Lisa's work takes a system-informed, strength-based approach, and her work focuses on designing practical strategies to assist others to flourish in spite of challenges and setbacks. Thanks for joining us, Lisa, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you to the ICF for this fantastic initiative.
Let's get straight into it. So, Lisa, what drew you to coaching?
Thanks for the question, Simon. It was great to reflect on this. I've had a long career in education, over 30 years actually, and I worked out very early in that journey that it was crucially important for me to create conditions for thriving for my students, because if I didn't, they would not reach their full potential. And so I did that every year for 30 years. And the word wellbeing actually didn't exist when I started my education journey. And so once wellbeing started to surface, which was, 2010 onwards, middle 2010s, I really wanted to formalise my experiential knowledge by getting a qualification. So I did the Masters in Applied Positive Psychology, and I had no plans to become a coach. I'd never even thought about it. But it was there that I was introduced to the work of Robert Biswas-Diener. He is a positive psychology coach. He resides in the United States, but very much has extended his work and influence across, many, many countries. And he's really all about designing a coaching model that is explicitly informed by the science of positive psychology. So that's just so strongly resonated with me. And I realised that if I could go and get some coach-specific training and then a credential, coaching might be the most amazing way to actually bring to life the applied science of positive psychology.
Fantastic. And how do you define yourself as a coach?
That's a tricky one because, look, I'm a strengths-based coach, but my work is very much grounded in systems thinking as well. And so one of the things I've found about the coaching industry is, and certainly I found this during my studies at Swinburne, that there were silos of coaching, and so there were, career coaches or remedial coaches or C-suite coaches, relationship coaches, life coaches. And this, I've always had a little bit of a conundrum with this because I think all of those things are very interrelated, and I'm not sure you can separate coaching into 2 separate boxes. I think you fragment the power of coaching when you do that. My work is explicitly informed by positive psychology. I don't call myself a positive psychology coach because there's still some reservations around that word positive. It is wellbeing science, but sometimes people hear that word positive and they think, oh, this is just going to be a Pollyanna thinking journey where, I'm just taught to think positive. Yeah, I like to call myself a systems-informed, strengths-based coach. And, the thing I try to do all the time, no matter who I'm working with, is just always go back to the theory to inform the practice. So things that are measurable, not just my good ideas or something I might find online, but actual ideas and interventions that have been measured, that have been shown to work, and they do apply across different contexts and cultures.
Great. So important to use evidence-based interventions in our work. And I see you started your business in 2018. Like other business owners, obviously had to deal with COVID. How has business been for you?
Yeah, COVID's been a massive disruptor for us all and for small business owners. I think I speak for many people when I say that the rug was pulled out from under us. And, I was just in a year in and had a really promising 2020 set up in front of me, and all of that work literally disappeared overnight. Looking back on that, I know it was because people had to really prioritise, businesses had to prioritise, and wellbeing kind of fell off the list, basically. As we moved through COVID, it's become very obvious that wellbeing, or the way in which a person is functioning, both personally and professionally, is absolutely critical to everything else. And so during COVID, I got very busy actually providing different wellbeing services for community and for individuals. And my coaching business has grown from there, Simon. And I also took that time during COVID to get my coach-specific training and to get my ACC hours up. So having done that, business is now going really well. I found that as soon as I had that credential, suddenly a whole lot of doors that seemed very shut started opening for me. And so one of the things that I'd love to encourage anyone that's watching today or listening is to take that very seriously, because certainly on an organisational level, the door is closed unless you can show that you have really rigorous coach-specific training and you have a credential. So that was a big lesson for me. I thought having a Masters of Applied Positive Psychology would be enough. It was nowhere near. It was not enough, and it was not specific enough, and I didn't know what I didn't know. It's been a great journey. So I have to say, post-COVID, although, we still live in a time of COVID, I guess, I'm finding I have a lot of opportunities, both on the wellbeing side and on the coaching side. And I also find that I'll be doing something on a wellbeing side, such as a webinar, and then I'll get a coaching opportunity from that. So I like to have a bit of a diverse platform of offerings for people. I'm always thinking about that, Simon, rather than just having one string to my bow. I'm always thinking about how can I have a range of things that I'm offering people, and so that, if coaching's not their thing, that they might be actually interested in, attending a workshop or reading some of the things that I've written about wellbeing and about positive psychology and about thriving in general.
Great. And following up on some of the things you were saying about opportunities, how do you pursue coaching opportunities?
So I tried a lot of different things kind of early on. And for me, what has worked for me is getting that credential. And then it's really through networking. And networking, I think I didn't really understand that word when I kind of came into the coaching world and in fact to the wellbeing world. I thought it was about pushing myself forward and being very grabby and trying to get ahead of other people and having to be have a really kind of competitive mindset. Now, none of those things are authentic to who I am. I am the least competitive person in the room. So what I've found is that I've tried to draw on my strengths of having good rapport with people and being able to build relationships with people. And then the minute someone asks me what I do, I do take that moment to just very simply and clearly state what I do. And, 9 times out of 10, people will say, oh, have you got a card? So I carry cards with me as well, Simon. It might be an old-fashioned way, but, people ask for a card and then they see, oh, okay, you've got a website. Oh, you've got an Instagram. Okay. Oh, you're on LinkedIn. So it's just having kind of a number of ways in which people can find out what you do. And, a website's really important. It doesn't have to be a great website. Every single time I've handed out my card and I've had a follow-up, the very first thing they say when we get to talk or meet is they say, oh, I had a look at your website. Every single time. And so I'm really trying to have, I guess, a bit of a diverse approach again in the ways in which I find clients. But, the strength of those relationships, recently I've been signed on with 2 organisations to be an associate coach, and both of those are through relationships. They're both through people getting to know me, getting to know that they can trust the quality of my work, and then saying, would you consider being an associate coach with us? So I think that relationship building side is critically important, and it doesn't have to be glossy and grabby and pushy and competitive. It just doesn't. I mean, I'm living proof of that. I don't know how to do any of those other things.
Well, thank you for sharing a bit about your business and how you go about generating or pursuing opportunities. Also wondering, how do you ensure you continue to evolve as a coach?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. And, when we contract with a new client, I always have within my coaching agreement, I have live hyperlinks to the ICF Code of Ethics and also to the International Positive Psychology Association Ethical Guidelines. Every time I link those to someone, I get them out myself and I have another look at them and I go through them and I just almost treat them like my little Bible, I guess. So I'm very linked in with the ICF. I actually don't think I would be in the coaching game if it was not for the ICF, because I think they've established these really coherent standards and they're across training, they're across practice, and they're across ethics. And so I'm constantly aware that I actually really need that. They're kind of the backbone of my practice. And so that's really my first port of call. And I also think, like the Australasia ICF Southern States, you guys, and I know that what you do and what everyone does is totally voluntary and, really you put your heart and soul into it. That also keeps me just, I guess, on the straight and narrow. Anyone can go out and hang up a shingle and say, I'm a coach. Anybody can do it. This is an unregulated industry. I honestly wouldn't be in it without some of these rigorous frameworks that are provided by the ICF. So yeah, that's how I keep honest, I guess.
Great, thank you for sharing that. And how have you dealt with the inevitable setbacks running your own business?
Yeah, look, thanks, Simon. That's a great question, and they are constant. In the early days, I would take missed opportunities or rejections actually very personally. And, to the point that I think, right, well, I'm not going to try that again. And it was what I've learned, and I've learned this from other people, actually. I've learned that every rejection is a learning opportunity. Every rejection is a moment to stop and reflect and ask myself, okay, what happened? What would I do next time differently? And so I've really tried to develop within me, and it's taken some work. It has taken some work an anti-fragile kind of approach to developing my business, pivoting pretty quickly if things don't go my way. And if a door is closed, I know that if I'm able to kind of have a good, realistic attitude about that, a good mindset about that, I can reasonably quickly pivot and find another door, that I can get my foot halfway in. And so, I found, speaking of the science of positive psychology, I found the optimism model that people might be familiar with, but Seligman's ABCDE optimism model, incredibly helpful in this regard, because we do have to be confident, we do have to back ourselves and be quite bold in our self-belief, in our ability to say, okay, that didn't work out. Right, I'm going to pivot now. I'm going to be adaptable here. I'm going to be flexible, and I'm going to look for something that is possibly the next thing that I'll get involved in. The other thing I would say, Simon, is that I don't ever turn down any work if it is aligned with my values. So that is my number one priority. And so I would invite coaches, as they're building their business, to not focus on the bottom line if possible, because when you do, you're actually closing the door to possible opportunities to work with people who are really wonderful to work with. And so I have taken on all kinds of community projects. I've done some pro bono coaching. I've run workshops for little, small, not-for-profit groups, and work has come out of those. Time and time again, work has come out of those. So, yeah, I would say have an open mind. I appreciate that to run a business, you need to respect the bottom line, but don't be ruled by it. Really try to have an open mind about the possibilities of leaning into opportunities that are aligned with your values and with the kind of coach that you want to be. You're never going to become the kind of coach you want to be if you don't have clients, and you're never going to get clients unless you're willing to really kind of lean in and be open to whatever possibilities are out there.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. So important to have that optimistic mindset. And also, often there is I think people misunderstand the value that unpaid opportunities can provide, in that, first of all, you might be showcasing a piece of work you're developing and for free getting feedback. You might meet great people who then connect you with other people. And it often 6 months down the track, these things end up paying dividends in ways you never expected. So
yeah, I totally agree with that, Simon. And you don't know it at the time, so we can err towards that negativity bias, which is, oh, if I offer something for free, no one will ever pay me. And I certainly heard that time and time again. And I guess I just want to reiterate that has not been my experience. I have offered things for free. I have done pro bono work. And I've actually found, if anything, it shows what an honest and generous coach I am, and it allows me to hone my craft. So it's actually not giving away something for free. There is a reciprocity there, and it's been invaluable for me, that reciprocal gain that I have got from, sometimes doing the pro bono thing. So I'd really encourage people to think broadly on that one.
Thank you. And thank you for all your wonderful insights today and your time. I learned a lot, and I think all of our members can take something of value from this conversation. And for those members who'd like to connect with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that, Lisa?
Oh, thanks, Simon. Probably the best way is through my website, heliotropia.com.au. Also, I have an Instagram that I keep pretty up to date and busy, and also on LinkedIn, just under Lisa Barker. So I would love to hear from people. If anyone would like to reach out and just get more details around kind of that step-by-step building process, I'd be more than happy to have a chat to people about that.
Good on you, and thank you for your generosity to the community, both for today and that offer. Well, thanks again, Lisa, and also thanks to those listening. All right, thanks a lot.
Simon.